Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
I'm going to add myself to the... There we go. Try this one. Ooh, look at that one. You can pay for something at the register. All right, I'm going to cancel the live over here on Instagram. Okay, swipe out of that. All right, I am here. Here it is. Good morning, everybody. Give it a couple minutes. Let some people trickle in. So what do we got? What do we got to talk about today? I'll run a quick little commercial just for the hell of it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Want to talk to you about Tasty Gains. They're a sponsor of Counterculture Inc. We love them, been using them, and I enjoy it. It's a little gummy. It's got like 1 gram of creatine in there, so you take 3 a day, knock it out. It's making a difference, and it gives me a little bit of sweetness too during the day. I can keep them right in my backpack in my car at work, and they don't melt. You can see this is the mango pineapple. It's my favorite flavor. But check it out. Use code Counterculture to get 20% off on Tasty Gains. So check out Tasty Gains. They're great. So get your swole on.
Yo, I'm back. Yeah, Tasty Gains. Those are pretty yummy. And I tested the coupon code out, and it worked yesterday. So it is. I did spell it correctly, and there's no space between counter and culture. All right, I'll talk about it here for a minute. Let me throw this up and see what the heck it does to me. Oh, it closes me out. Hey, there I am. All right, this Saturday, if you're in the South Florida area, make sure to keep it on the calendar. Unseen Creatures Brewing and Blending in Miami. It's down near, not far from the airport area, but I've been to it. It's a pretty cool spot, and they have some good beers. So check it out. It's I'll be there. You got Mike from Copville is going to be there. You got Tyler from Anti-Hero, Heather from Unfiltered and Unfazed, Austin and Matthew from Tone Alert. They're coming all the way out from the Vegas area. Brought to you by Feds Apparel and Armored Breach. Thank you very much, guys, for that sponsorship. And then Counterculture Threads, or Counterculture Inc. Threads. Don't forget them. So there's going to be some swag on sale at the event, and then we're going to do a live podcast conversation, and then just be there to hang out and say what's up to everybody. Do that. Coming up in October is going to be there's going to be one in Philadelphia. So once we have the details figured out for that, we will put that out. The event is already like set up and occurring. They just asked Counterculture to come out and do a live podcast. So that's going to be even cooler because it's a little less logistics and legwork for us. But yeah, so that's that. I'm gonna pull this down. Looking forward to this Saturday in Miami. Yes, as Jerry says, big ups to Blackout Coffee in my cup. You can use code DSP10. We'll do all the coupon codes and stuff at the beginning of the show. So Donut Shop Podcast, and you get 10% off DSP10. Got the Blackout Coffee in the mug. All right. Well, I see Jerry's in, and Jerry had a special request and wanted me wanted to chat. He'll hopefully chime in a little bit and tell me where I'm wrong, because I'm sure I'm going to be wrong on some of this stuff. But and I'll admit it's been a few years since I was like hot and heavy in traffic stops and doing all that kind of police work, because I was off the road for a while doing the school resource officer gig, and then the public information officer gig, and community events and community resource stuff. So, traffic stops were always a good way to spend the time. And I always felt that that traffic stops helped to, reduce crime, or at least showed a presence on the road. When the lights go on, people in the area see it and they know that the cops are out patrolling and doing work. So it's a necessary part of the job to show, enforcement action. Uh, some of the, I think Mike's argued that, can you really prove that traffic stops have stopped or prevented fatalities, all that kind of stuff? And I know the stats have come through, but I definitely think that they do, or I'm a believer. But when you come to some of the stuff that you see in today's days, where people have, their phones set up and they're recording the traffic stop, just like we're recording the traffic stops, they end up putting them on social media. And then these people on social media, sometimes, like we'll call them like YouTube lawyers, they're telling them, demand a supervisor, unless it's in your department's policy and procedure, which I really, I've never been a supervisor, but I don't think that a department should put that in policy and procedure, because I think it just hampers up the communication of the officer and the officer's ability to do their job right then and there. They're entrusted to do that work. So if you have to consistently get a supervisor called, and usually with these people, it's a distraction technique. It's a way to try and get the officer flustered and harass them back, because this person on the traffic stop feels like they're harassed. And then you've also got the Karen culture. I want to speak to your manager, thinking that a manager is going to be looking at the overall customer service value in a restaurant, where the employee is the one dealing with customers on the front line. And then the manager comes in and just says, oh, yes, we can take that return, or we can do that. We can offer them this sale, even though it's expired, and all this kind of crap. They're thinking more like that. Well, that's not necessarily police work. The law is the law. And if the officers on the road are entrusted to do their jobs properly, then they need to be allowed to do their jobs properly. And if you do truly have a complaint or a problem with it, you can complain after. You can either go to court, you can fight it and win because you are so correct, or you can file a complaint with the department and have it handled like that. And I get it. They're going to argue that, it's we can't trust those internal investigations and stuff like that. But what the problem is that these people don't truly understand the law, how it's enforced, and how it works. So, all right, I'll get off that soapbox. So when you talk about these traffic stops, and so much comes up now, and it gets mentioned about Pennsylvania versus Mims, a Supreme Court law that talks about traffic stops, officer safety, and how an officer, and what the reasonableness to asking someone to exit their vehicle, and whether it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment, search and seizure. So the facts of the case are the police stopped Harry Mims for an expired license plate, and they asked him to step out of the car. And when he did, they noticed a bulge in his jacket and then found a handgun. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court held that during a traffic stop, police officers may order the driver out of the vehicle without violating the Fourth Amendment. So it's not a Fourth Amendment, where they're not going in there and searching the car after they get you out. They're just getting you out to put you on a level playing field, sometimes to separate you from the vehicle, because the trust may not be there that you're not going to drive off and flee, or that you have opportunity to grab certain items like a weapon inside of the vehicle. So when I was in the academy 20 years ago, we had an officer that he swore to us as training cadets that he never let a person stay in a car during a traffic stop. He almost sounded like he treated him like a felony stop. He, from his car, called them out of his car towards him, so that he could see him, so that he was protected by his car, and he'd get the person all the way up to like his hood and conduct a traffic stop there. I don't know how normal that is now. I don't know if he truly did that or if that was just one of those things you tell young pups in the police academy to get them thinking about that specific thing, and maybe he can influence one or two of us to do that for the rest of our career. I don't really know, but I don't know if it's really relevant or feasible to do all the time. We and then now we see today, in today's day and age, with the phones and stuff and the people filming in their car and the refusals to get out of the car or even roll down their windows, and that sort of thing, that yeah, I can't imagine what sort of a fight and argument you were going to get into pulling everybody out of their car. So he you know, I don't know if he teaches at the academy anymore, but you know, he was a good guy. So the reasoning that the court balanced officer safety and minimal intrusion. So officer safety was getting the driver out, made it easier to observe movements and reduce the risk from concealed weapons, as I was talking about. The minimal intrusion is briefly stepping out as a small inconvenience when it compares to officer safety factors and people getting hurt. There's a lot of conversation on in the comments of these videos, which sometimes is entertaining to read and then sometimes equally frustrating. That you know, you get the crowd that's, if he had just complied, and they're not totally wrong, that a lot of times if somebody just went along with it, but there's a lot of time that we wouldn't be sometimes in this situation if the person had just complied with the traffic stop from the get-go. So there's probably many traffic stops that don't even have that happening. So the core to it is the traffic stop is lawful and an officer can direct the driver, and later by related cases, they can also direct the passenger to exit the vehicle for safety reasons. So they can get people out of the car, they can separate them from the car and pull them out, and it's completely reasonable. Like I was saying before, the asking of a supervisor, I believe it's a lot of times sort of just like an extension or a way for them to delay the traffic stop, to distract the officer. It could be a way to delay the traffic stop to allow a partner to come in, you know, the driver's friend come in and interfere even further. You know, hey, I'm 5 minutes out to, you know, cause havoc or you know, assault the police officer. So just keep wasting time, cause the officer to have to waste time with you. That's one of the ways that I think of it. So with the demanding of a supervisor, it's not a constitutional right, Mrs. Karen, to have your supervisor or have the supervisor present. The officers are sworn by the state to uphold the law, to enforce laws within the state. An officer can call one, you know, if they feel like it, but they don't legally have to. They can carry out the traffic stop. They can carry out orders, giving orders like Pennsylvania versus Mims, having someone get out of the car. You know, so Mims is part of standard police training when it comes to traffic stops that we're taught to, that, you know, as long as the stop is lawful, you have to have a lawful reason, of course. Gone are the days of just stopping cars just for driving. You know, we've got to have a lawful reason, reasonable suspicion for that traffic stop. Most of the times it's pretty easy to find a reason to do a traffic stop. I did one the other day, and I had a guy, you know, kind of start getting on me and yelling at me, saying that, not yelling at me, but getting on me about, oh, I'm bored. And I was like, no, actually I'm not. You know, I have one of my pet peeves you can see in my reels is the stickers all over the license plate, or the adjustments of the license plates, where they put like a full sticker sheet over top of it, and they kind of like leave the letters there so that you can read them, but they completely alter the tag. That's a big pet peeve for me. So when I see those, I find them and I'll run the tag and just as many traffic stops go. You run the tag and you're looking for other administrative or even crimes, like a warrant attached to the driver of the car, or a suspended license, stuff like that. So I stopped the car because the driver or the owner of the vehicle had a suspended license also, and it was heavily tinted out. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I've got my violation with the obstructed tag or the altered tag. So I did the traffic stop. And it was the registered owner was a female. When I got to the car, it was a male driver. So I can still, I know the suspended license part is most likely out of the window, but you still have the traffic stop on the license plate. So I conducted the traffic stop as normal. I asked him for his license and chatted with him for a couple seconds, kind of educated him on the license plate thing. And he was like, he was kind of encouraging me not to give him a ticket because he has a CDL, and I understood that, and I'd already recognized that. And I don't usually like to, unless it's an egregious problem, mess up CDL drivers, just because they do usually do work and they're based around their driver's license. So I went and I ran the guy, and he was clean. His license was good. So I went back, and then he kind of he did one of those, like, where people say, you talked yourself into a ticket. He was pretty much on the verge. Like, I wasn't going to give a ticket for the tag violation, especially because it wasn't his car by registration. And I know I could have asked some questions, investigated further, but it was, it was a quick transactional type thing. And he started to talk himself into it. He was asking me, he's like, so what? I was thinking about it. So what are you bored? And I was like, no. And I explained to him my full reasoning for it, that, listen, the tag, I'd already explained that to him. And I said, look, and when I run the tag, and I gave the name of the owner, and I said, she's got a suspended license. So do her a favor and let her know, because some people just don't know that their license is suspended. Let her know. Tell her to get it taken care of, get it reinstated. She's not in the car. She's not driving. She's not in violation. So just, so I was given a public service, in my opinion. And he was kind of talking a little bit too much, and he could have just said, all right, thank you, officer, and rolled his window up and left. But I wasn't going down that road. He wasn't that much of a D-bag enough to say, you know what, hang on a second, I'll be right back, and I'll go print out a ticket for you. So I left him on his merry way. But that's one of those things, and it's a lot of the other part of these traffic stops and the demanding of supervisor is understanding what you want to do, what you're trying to affect by doing the traffic stop, what probable cause, reasonable suspicion you have to either detain the person longer than the traffic stop, why you stopped them, and then understanding your officer safety, the tells that this person might have, like what they're doing, if there's, any of the kind of movements where it looks like they're reaching down underneath the seat and going for stuff, or they're shifting around. The only thing that they should really be shifting around doing is leaning for the glove box to get the registration and insurance, if that's where they keep it. A lot of people keep some of this stuff on their phones now, so they're just providing us their phones and showing us their insurance on the phone, and sometimes they just take photographs of their registrations too. So you get that kind of stuff. You get your driver's license, you get the person identified, but you also run into these other situations where someone just thinks that, as I stated before, that there's a constitutional right to a supervisor, to my supervisor, and there's not. Unless there's a policy and procedure, which I know from my agency, and most likely for most, there's not a policy and procedure for that, about a supervisor showing up on scene. Maybe Jerry can chime in, as he was a sergeant within the Broward Sheriff's Office. Let's see. I forgot. I can do this, and I can show these. I can show these quotes. Oh, that's not that one. I don't want to show that one. I'll show, yes, Blackout Coffee is the best. And Liz is referring to Counterculture's open mic on Friday night. There's a guy named Steve that likes to follow around Dominic Izzo, and he was making fun of all of us in the live stream, most of us, for wearing our hats backwards. Part of it that I didn't explain that night is that I have a light right here. So when you wear a hat forward, it tends to shade the face. So it's not necessarily conducive for good video video lighting. So I turn my hat around backwards, but whatever. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm a grown ass man. One of the other things that Jerry mentioned, or Jerry said, that in these traffic stops is you've got sovereign citizens. Sovereign citizens are a group that sort of subscribes to a thought process. Oh, here's Jerry. Jerry never responded to traffic stops because you responded, or because you had good officers working for you and you could trust them. But so sovereign citizens are a group, and they kind of subscribe to this like idealism that they're, I'm not totally like an expert in it, but that they have that they don't follow U.S. law. You know, they don't recognize like a different set of laws, not the actual, like they I guess it's like part of the Constitution, but they're just nuts. And it's one of those things, just kind of like how I explained that some of these people nowadays, they'll just say, I want to talk to a supervisor. They say that. Well, you get these other people and they learn about this sovereign citizen stuff. And they, aside from just the language they use and the way they talk, they say they're a traveler on the roadways, and they don't recognize they're doing interstate commerce and all kinds of stuff like that. They use these like terms. They also print out fake license plates. Well, fake because they're not state issued license plates. So they issue, or they wear these, they put these license plates from this like, you know, weird society or organization on the car. And so you can see them, and most of us have seen bulletins on them and training sheets that say, you know, that show what they look like. So when we're driving around and you're used to seeing, like for me, a Florida license plate, and even though we have 200 and something Florida license plates, you see one of these and you're kind of like, oh, there's a red flag. Like, let's see what's going on. You kind of do a little shifting around and sort of view the car how you can. And then you go and you do the traffic stop. Part of that problem is that before I do the traffic stop, like I did with the one with the sticker over the license plate, is I ran the license plate. So you've got background information. You've got it documented in case bullets start flying out, at least, and I'm injured, at least they can look at my computer and they can see what the last tag that I ran was. And they say, all right, well, this is where one of the places we're going to start our investigation is with this car that he ran a tag for. Well, if you're running a tag that doesn't exist, you know, it's going to make the investigation just that much harder. It doesn't come back to a person. So I can't, you know, issue a ticket to the driver that I observed that matches the description and the photo of the driver's license. So I can say that most likely it was that person operating the vehicle. There's nothing that comes back on that tag. So you're already going in blind into a situation of a traffic stop. And then they start spouting off all these phrases and terms and stuff. Jerry says that they're all from Morocco. Yeah, Morocco, I mean, you know, I don't know if I agree with you that they're all from Morocco. Some of them might be from Morocco. Some of them might be, you know, the gypsy type, the scammer type. Some of them, I mean, in some of those videos, they were, you know, middle America, corn-fed, you know, you know, I could kind of describe them as like they almost fall into like a crazy right-wing type group. If that doesn't piss anybody off, but they've killed police officers in the past. They've been armed. They've, you know, seen police as sort of a, you know, a government assailant coming at them. So then they, you know, try to maintain this form of freedom that they think they have. So let me just read what other notes I wrote down. So, oh, okay, yeah. So many sovereign citizens will try to remain in their car, like they don't want to get out. They're gonna try to remain in their car. They're gonna consistently ask if they're detained. That kind of also, without claiming they're sovereign citizens, goes with what a lot of these people now on traffic stops are doing. Am I detained? Well, yes, you're detained because you're in a traffic stop and it's a temporary detention. So yes, you are being detained. And what's your probable cause? Well, I've affected a traffic stop. I'm investigating, a traffic offense, and we're going to issue a citation or not. And you're continuing to waste your time. Part of it for me is like I'm a overly patient person, so I will sometimes entertain this stuff a little way beyond what some of my partners might think. But I sometimes like to make the sovereign citizen or the person in the car look more and more like a fool by me not getting frustrated and their tactics aren't truly working. I'll just let them kind of run their mouth as long as it's not violating any safety or putting us in harm's way. It just becomes a battle of chess or whatever, and we can win that as long as we're focused on what tools we have, what ability we have, our safety, all that kind of stuff. You can get that going. I don't know, Jerry, did I kind of go over some stuff or did I leave anything out? So it's pretty good. Basically, get your docs out, get them ready, let the officer decide if he's going to write you a ticket or not. Freaking move on about your day. These guys that are, fighting it and all that kind of stuff. It's so ridiculous. Oh, here we go. I'll throw this one back up for everybody else that's joined in. The Miami event is next Saturday. Come out, meet guys and girls from Counterculture Inc. Jerry and Liz are going to be there. They're in the chat today. They're going to be there. But it's next Saturday, the 16th, at Unseen Creatures Brewing and Blending from 6 p.m. to midnight. We're going to be out there. Big thanks to Armored Breach and Feds Apparel for hooking it up on sponsorships. You got the guys from Tone Alert, Matthew and Austin. I'll be there. You got Tyler from Counterculture and Anti-Hero Podcast, Mike from Cobbville. Hopefully Jimmy Watson from Other Than Honorable Podcast. They just wrapped up their season finale of their podcast. It's over on the Counterculture Network. Taylor Kavanaugh and Jimmy Watson. Go check that out. It's a fun one. Two crazy ass Navy SEALs talking about their stories. Season 2 will start recording soon in September. So we're going to do that. What else we got? We'll drop that off and fill the screen. Look at that. I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at this producer stuff of my own show. So did anybody catch the episode this week that I dropped of whatchamacallit? Oh, Kevin Peach is coming. Oh yeah, from Guys on the Ground. We should put them in the flyer. Probably too late. I did the episode with Michael Morgan, and that dropped this week. It was about a 30-year law enforcement veteran, and then after his career, he injured his back, and so he pensioned out at the end of his career, and he just had a lot of stuff going on and mental health wise, and he's a big mental health advocate now. He goes to ayahuasca journeys. Ayahuasca is to U.S. standards a Scheduled I drug, so it's illegal. But because of the religious nature of it and the religious administration of it, you can go to these journeys and you do the ayahuasca, and you go on a journey and you It's supposedly amazing, and he's opened up some stuff and gotten his. Oh, looks like I can't cancel my. It looks like I'm going to work out today. My ankle was kind of hurting, so I wasn't going to work out today, but I am within my hour window. Oops, and guess I'm going to work out. Can't be a bad thing though. But yeah, so it was a good episode. Awesome guy. We'll probably do some work with him again later on. And he has his own podcast. So go over to the YouTube. Well, you're on the YouTube channel. Check out that episode. This week, I have Anthony Passari is his name. He was a major with the Rhode Island State Police and then became chief of Middleton, another city in Rhode Island. Can't be too big because Rhode Island's not very big. But he did a lot of investigation as it goes with the mob. He was big in investigating organized crime, and now he has turned that into a fiction-based novel series. He's got 2 books about an investigator, and so it's based on real events. So we talked. We did an episode on Friday, but it's already loaded and ready to go. I just got to cut up some reels today and get those ready for the week's production. And then, so that episode should be coming out. And then other than that, I'm dry on episodes. So I gotta start recruiting some more guests. But, yeah, I don't know what else everybody got. So I think Liz and Jerry are drinking Blackout coffee, DSP 10, if you're going to get some Blackout coffee. I had donuts out in the kitchen, but I'm not going to eat them. I'm going to be good. Oh, my wife looked at the Entenmann's ones, and was like, the cholesterol in these is ridiculous. So there's a new donut company called like Hollywood Donuts or something like that. That's in South Florida. They've got a bunch of franchises in South Florida, like Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale and stuff. I just saw them on Instagram and I was like, oh crap. All right. Interesting. So let me see if I can talk to them, chit chat. You guys, Liz and Jerry, you guys are going out on the boat all the time. Is it your boat or friends' boats? The best boats are friends' boats. Yeah, you guys go out on the boat all the time. So yeah, that's that. I think it's good. Oh, it's your boat. Oh, all right. It's not as cool as just a friend's boat, but it's still cool. So, well, enjoy the boat. For everybody else, thanks for tuning in, watching the numbers pop up and down. That's always cool to see a bunch more people in here. Don't be afraid to chime in the chat and chit chat. But I think that's good for today. And catch you guys next week. I don't think I'm going to do this next week. I think I'll probably be hungover because I have, well, so Saturday we've got the live event. This would normally be done at 8:30 in the morning. Maybe I'll log in from my phone as I'm like rolling around in the bed in the hotel room, because I got a hotel down south closer to the area, because if I'm drinking at this show, I'm going to be a responsible guy and I'm going to take an Uber back to a hotel instead of driving, because I heard that Dade likes to do DUI checkpoints in that area anyways. So it'd be in my best interest to not get a DUI with 4 months left of my career. Maybe I could spend the rest of that 4 months on internal suspension or some crap, but I don't really want to. So, so Sunday after the live event, probably won't have this live stream, because we'll be hanging out with everybody. And then at like 1:00, I fly out to LA because I got hooked up with a concert that my wife wanted to go see, Lainey Wilson. And a friend helped us out. We're going to see Lainey Wilson in Hollywood in LA. And so we're flying out. She's going to already be flying out. She flies out Saturday because she's not doing the live event, but I'm like, I can't go Saturday. So I'm going to fly out on Sunday. The concert's on Monday, and then I'll fly back on Tuesday. So I'm just doing a quick back and forth across the country to see this concert. But you gotta keep the wife happy. Especially with playing all of these podcast games and stuff. So we're going to see Lainey Wilson next Monday. And then Yeah, and then it's going to be September in no time, and my September is going to be insane. I'm going to Germany for Oktoberfest. On the way to Germany, we stop in Istanbul. It doesn't really sound like it's on the way. It's actually past Germany. So, but we're going into Istanbul for 2 days. Two of my buddies and I will be in Istanbul for 2 days, and then we're going to Munich, Germany. So that's pretty exciting. Going to New York State, not New York City, New York State, for a little get together after my cousin's wedding. So be in Orlando for filming Other Than Honorable podcast episodes. So September is going to be a busy month. So we're gonna have to juggle all that, looking forward to retirement, getting ready to retire, and gonna have a little bit extra time, but it seems like I'm already filling up all that extra time. So with that, I will say thanks to everybody for checking out the episode. Thanks everybody for checking out the recorded part of the episode. And Jerry and Liz, enjoy the boat, and see you guys next weekend. See everybody else hopefully next weekend. And if not in the future, we've got other Counterculture live events coming up. So it'll be great. All right. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one.
Calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.